Hi guys, what is it with the Johnson family? You have Boris, then you have his dad, the less we talk about him the better, and then you have his sister Rachel, who has her own show on LBC. Now Rachel likes to talk about things she doesn't understand, it seems. Here she was speaking about a way to fund the NHS, but not through government. No, ordinary people will pay to see their GP. Now sadly many people have latched on to this idea and think it's a bit of a winner. Rachel also gave the example of Ireland, which is the wrong approach, and I'll tell you why. Have a listen.
At 8 o'clock, this was a surprise to me. I admit I didn't know that if you live in the Republic of Ireland, you pay £50 to see a GP. You pay €100 if you turn up at A&E without having got a GP's referral first. Is this something we should be looking at? Would it make a difference to the funding crisis in the NHS, given that we've got a nurses' strike imminent, and it strikes me that if this our nearest neighbour, Ireland, is doing this so far successfully for quite some years, maybe it shouldn't be such a taboo even to contemplate making NHS users pay a bit more for the services they need.
Okay, now the problem with this, so first of all, I've talked about this before. Is this means tested? So who's going to pay? If you say we're going to charge people to see a GP, who will be charged to see a GP and who will not be? You'll have to have a bureaucracy involved dealing with who will be paying and who will not be paying. Now she gave here the example as well of Ireland. In Ireland, you have to pay to see your GP unless you have a medical card or you have some other exemption. If you don't have a medical card or an exemption, you pay about, as she said here, 50 euros or £50, about £50, or you pay 100 if you go to A&E and you don't have a referral. Now, if you go, just think about this for a moment, okay? You don't qualify for a medical card, so your salary is above the threshold, and you don't have any exemption. What happens to most people when they hear the idea that, well, if I go to the GP, just to be seen by the GP, I have to pay 50 euros. And if I want a prescription, there's an extra cost there as well. Now, the medication is a different thing, but just to have the prescription from the doctor. So the doctor sees you, they charge you 50 euros. And if you need a prescription, it's another maybe 20 euros or maybe more. What happens is most people, or a lot of people, decide I'm not going to the doctor. Now that may sound like, well, that's taking pressure off the healthcare system. Not really. What happens is people look at the cost and say, I'm not going to the doctor. Whatever pain I have, maybe it will go away. Maybe I can self-medicate, take some paracetamol and it'll go away. And then what happens? The condition gets worse. And then they have to be sent into hospital. And they have to be treated in hospital. And they could have been treated by their GP, but the people avoided going to the GP because of the cost. Now, this is a problem for the healthcare system. And imagine it like a car. Okay, if you don't maintain the car, it'll run for a while and then it will break down. It'll be much more expensive to fix than if you actually spent the money on maintenance. The same with the body. If you don't maintain it correctly, it's going to break down and it's going to be more expensive to fix. So this is why I'm against the idea of having a GP, the idea that you have to pay for a GP. And we already pay for our GPs through our taxes. Okay, so there's no justification for adding an extra cost there. It makes more sense to increase taxation to cover these costs. Now, a problem in the UK is there aren't enough GPs. I think it was about 4,000 GPs left after Brexit. So when freedom of movement ended, the UK had fewer GPs available. Now there's massive pressure on the existing GPs, like there's massive pressure on nurses. They're doing more work with fewer staff. And the GPs in particular are facing a massive backlog, and they're receiving pressure from the media, for example, and politicians to clear this backlog, but they're trying to clear the backlog with fewer staff. And, in some cases, if you pay, you can get an appointment quicker. But that's not the solution. That can't be the long-term solution, that you just let people pay. It creates a two-tier society. It makes more sense to tax those who have money and invest it in the healthcare system. But when it comes to a shortage of GPs, taxation is not going to fix that. You need to bring back freedom of movement. You need to open up the immigration system. You need to invite doctors in. But it seems the Conservatives are not interested in doing that at the moment. So these delays, these shortages are going to continue. But the solution is not to offload the cost onto the ordinary people. Once again, who's going to pay for the bureaucracy here? This will be an extra cost for the NHS. It makes no sense. The Irish system is not the silver bullet that people in the UK should be looking to. There are other systems around Europe. For example, here in Italy, you don't pay for your GP. You don't pay for prescriptions either. Now, it's universal, so both rich people and poor people don't pay. It's paid through taxes. Taxation is higher, but you don't pay when you need to go to the GP. Now, for healthy people, they lose out, but for less healthy people, they benefit from that. But in a society, a civilized society, those who have the broader shoulders should bear more of the load. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.